The studio in the Scottish Highlands seemed to hold its breath that day. There was no laughter, no director shouting, "Action!" Just the wind blowing through the cold stone crevices, and the two of them, Sam and Katrina, stood facing each other in a room recreated from the 18th century. The scene was supposed to be easy, a simple Outlander scene, Claire and Jamie sitting and talking after a rainy night. But when the director lowered his hand, the atmosphere suddenly changed. "This scene, we just need to feel, no dialogue," the director murmured, stepping back. "I want to see two people really listening to each other." No one on the crew knew that the camera was still silently recording. Katrina sat down, her thick skirt trailing across the wooden floor. Sam stood beside her, the light from the dim lamp reflecting in his eyes. There was just enough space between them for a breath. "You know, Kate," he said, unscripted. "Don't start like that," she said softly, her eyes never leaving his. There was a moment of silence. The studio seemed frozen. The clock on the wall, a fake antique, counted the seconds mercilessly. Sam stepped closer, his breath brushing against her skin. "Have you ever thought, are we acting, or are we living?" Katrina laughed softly, but there was something real in that laugh, a broken one. "Sam, the camera's off." "No," he said, "I feel like it's still watching." The backstage lights fell on their faces, blurring the line between character and real person. She touched his cheek. It wasn't in the script. The crew held their breath, no one daring to cut the scene. They stared at each other for so long that time seemed to stop. And then, as if driven by something beyond the role, Sam leaned in, so close that with one more breath, everything would change. At that moment, the director shouted, "Cut! Perfect shot, perfect, but who told you to keep filming?" Everyone looked at the screen. The camera, still rolling. A film that was not scripted, not choreographed, without dialogue. Just eyes, breath, and a moment that could not be repeated. That night, in the editing room, the editor discovered that the footage was longer than usual. At the end, when the director called, "Cut," Sam was still looking at Katrina, his eyes no longer Jamie's but his own. No one knew why the director kept that scene in the final cut. And no one knew that, a few weeks later, when the crew stopped shooting, Katrina received an unlabeled short film, with only a single handwritten line. "The cameras kept rolling, because we didn't." 2 weeks after that shoot, the Highland set was cleared. The backdrops, the antique lamps, even the wooden chair from Sam and Katrina's final scene were removed. There was no trace of that quiet afternoon, except the film. Katrina remembered vividly the feeling of receiving the anonymous package, sent to her London apartment. There was no return address, just a handwritten note on the stamp. "Private cut, for your eyes only." She opened it in silence. Inside was a black USB drive, small as a memory. When the screen lit up, she saw herself, in 18th-century dress, looking at Sam. Not the look in the film, but the look of someone who had forgotten she was being watched. Her heartbeat mingled with the rhythm of her breathing in the video. The camera kept rolling after the director had called, "Cut." In the frame, Sam was still standing there, watching her as she walked off the set. He didn't know the camera was off. He didn't know someone was recording that look, the look of someone who had just touched something forbidden, and couldn't take it back. The next day, Katrina called Sam. "Did you send that to me?" "What?" "Don't pretend, Sam. That footage. Someone kept it." There was silence on the other end of the line. Then he sighed. "I didn't send it, but I know who might have it. He told me about an auxiliary camera, operated by a young technician named Harris, who usually recorded behind-the-scenes footage for the broadcast channel. But after that day, Harris disappeared from the set without explanation. I think he... I don't know. But Kate, that scene shouldn't have existed. It was too real." A few days later, a 20-second video leaked online. It was unclear who posted it, only the description. Uncut moment when the actors forgot the script. In the clip, there were only eyes. No words, no gestures, no background music. Katrina felt her heart sink as she saw the thousands of comments. That wasn't an act. Look at Sam's eyes, it can't be an act. Who shot this scene? The studio immediately asked for it to be taken down. But like everything that's leaked, it never completely disappears. The more they tried to erase it, the deeper they dug. Some re-edited the footage frame by frame, some added background music, some edited it into a short film called The Unscripted Moment. Katrina didn't dare watch it again. But Sam was different. He watched the video every night, a habit he promised himself he would stop, but couldn't. In her eyes that day, he saw something that 1,000 times acting in front of the camera couldn't recreate. A real moment. The next month, they met again at a magazine photo shoot. There was no director, no studio lights, just an old Parisian attic, where light shone through moss-covered windows. When the photographer said, "Relax, just look at each other," no one knew what to do. "Do you still have it?" she asked softly. "The footage?" "That look." Sam smiled. "It doesn't belong to anyone. It just exists." Cameras clicked, lights flashed, but within seconds, they fell into silence, the same silence as that day. Another silent take, but this time there was no director, no script, no one shouting, "Cut." That night, Katrina received a text message from an unknown number. "You both forgot the camera that time too." Attached was a photo of them from today's photo shoot, an angle that only the person behind the camera could see. She looked around the room, feeling like someone was watching. The glass wall reflected her face, blurred in the light. Outside the window, Paris was sleeping. But somewhere, someone was still filming. Sam received a similar package at the same time, a full copy of the unreleased footage, but this time with a few new frames. At the end of the video, after his eyes left Katrina, the camera slowly panned back, revealing a large mirror behind them. In the mirror, they weren't alone. There was a figure holding an old camera, not part of the crew, not on any of the staff lists. He tried to zoom in, but the man's face was completely blurry, except for one clear detail. A name tag on his chest, with the words, "Observer Unit, Scene Continuity." The problem was, the Outlander crew didn't have a unit by that name. A few months later, Sam and Katrina were invited to a special screening of Outlander, the season retrospective. When the screen played back the highlights, they were both surprised. The silent take scene had been inserted as a deleted scene, with the film's color remastered, the lighting softer, the sound duller, but the emotion intact. The audience held their breath. When the scene ended, there was a long applause. No one knew that the footage had never been shown. No director had sent it, no technician had been ordered to add it. After the screening, the director met them backstage, his face ashen. "I don't know who inserted it. The official cut doesn't have that scene." "Are you sure?" Katrina asked. "Absolutely. But the system records an upload from the secondary server 2 weeks ago, at midnight." Uploader. Observer. That night, Sam returned to the hotel and opened his laptop. In his inbox was a new, anonymous video, no title, no description. When he opened it, he found himself staring into the lens, his eyes blank. The scene was not from any recording he remembered. Behind him was Katrina, but not the one in the present. She was wearing the same old dress from that year, her eyes still stuck in a moment that never ended. Then the final words appeared on the screen. The silent take never ended. "You just stopped watching." Sam hung up, his heart pounding. He called Katrina, no one answered. As he left the room, footsteps echoed in the hotel hallway. A figure in a trench coat walked by, carrying an old camera, and the same silver metal plate on his chest. Observer Unit. And since then, it's been rumored that in every new season, there's a strange frame that flashes between scenes, where Sam and Katrina look at each other, even though it wasn't in the script. The editors swear they didn't add anything. But when you slow down each frame, in the bottom right corner, there's always a faint line. Recording, the silent take.